somehow people just turned to me. I was very young, but people just come to me, and it was like they needed me to feel, the shoes of my father, like what they would have gone to ask my dad. They would just naturally believe that I can also answer. I look like him, and I'm the firstborn, and so somehow people just come to me and ask me questions that I cannot even understand. I'm very, very quick to, put to use whatever I've learned. And that has been the 10 times factor for me growing. So when I meet people, come on, I know where you're coming from. Not just from my experience of knowing, also from my experience of doing.
Concentration is the cell of the matter called focus. Your ability to concentrate on what you are doing now is very important. Your ability to be able to concentrate on what you will do later, what you have done before, they come together to give you focus.
Hi, I'm Obehi the author of the storytelling series for small businesses and content creators. In Obehi Podcast, we talk about the power of your story, your narrative, and why you should own your voice. Whether you are a small business owner, a content entrepreneur, or you simply want to build your influence, storytelling is probably going to be your best instrument to connect with your audience. So join the awakened few who are owning their voices. Now let's get started with today's episode.
All right. I'm Olatunji B, Alonge, and it's a great pleasure to be on this platform today. I really appreciate you for this, very good privilege. I help people and businesses to grow. That's what I do, and I do that through design, of solutions for problems, personal problems, and even business problems. I do a lot of stuff around, helping people to discover purpose and come to realize who they are, and helping them to also start a very good pursuit, all right, for fulfillment the best way possible. So I founded Growth Hive Consulting, that was recently to just, bring home everything that we do, that we can have a corporate image, for people to come and say, hey, guy, what's up? We need you and your team to do this for us. And it's been really exciting, really interesting to have that. I have my background in engineering. I did mechanical engineering, but right there from my university days, I've always been a different engineer. Everybody could do engineering, but I've always had that different thought, right? So, like a team of engineers and do all of those things. So it was really interesting, right? Coming out as a different engineer, and that engineering part has really helped me to be able to do very deep work, all right, when it comes to helping people and businesses to grow. I have this engineering thought, like getting to make sure that every part, all right, digging deep and doing some very deep diagnosis or whatever it is to get to the real root of the matter, and that's been an advantage for me. I still have a very good knack for engineering, and I still sit behind many working, it's a great thing. It's good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that, Olatunji. Let's spend some time talking about you because I can see that there is a lot of interesting thing we are going to uncover in today's conversation because we are talking about growth, and growth is life. So, but let's try to know you a little bit better. So, were you born in Lagos? Did you come from another place to Lagos, or what do you want to say about that?
Yeah, I'm a village boy. I usually would say that in my uh, introduction. I'm the poorest person to talk about myself. I always like people talk about me and me listen. So when you get me to talk about myself, I may not do the best. But I understand that it's very important for business. You know how to blow your trumpet and decide the tone you want people to hear. So I'm working so much on that as well. So I'm a village boy. I grew up in a village. However, I spent my first decade in the northern part of Nigeria, Nasarawa and Kano, right? Before coming back to the west, where I had my, you know, a little part of my primaries and my secondary. So I've always not been far from Lagos anyway. To come do some holidays and all of it like that in Lagos. So Lagos has been a place for me. However, I do not shy away from the fact that I am a product of a village, raised by many with so much of compassion and wisdom. Thank you.
All right. So you're not far away from Lagos, where you grew up. I want you to give us the privilege of understanding how it was for you growing up. And when you were still a kid growing up, when you say you're a village boy or you call from a village, that is really a virtue. Because most people that grow up in the city sometimes they lose the touch to the ground where they are standing on sometimes. Because we have a lot of distraction all around us. Sometimes we don't really understand the basis of how the things are set up. But when you look at the village life, because I also grew up in the village, you understand that life is very, very complex there, but it appears in a very simplest form. It appears that, oh, it's so simple, but it's very complex. If you can understand the village life, then I believe you can understand any type of lifestyle in the world because everything is set up. I remember one time I was talking about soft skill, looking at how you could, for example, focus. Something as simple as focus. One would not think that in the village, those things you learn it. But the truth is that we actually learned about focusing in the village better than we did in the city. A good example would be like when I was growing up, we used to take the catapult to go and hunt bears. We go to hunt lizard. We do all sort of things in the nearby bush. Now, this is the kick on it. Now, with your small catapult, how are you able to take down a small bird on top of a tree if you don't know how to focus? That is just one thing. But there are many other things that we learn in the video which sort of give us the basis of how to find ourselves in the world. So I really look at it as a virtue for having the privilege to have grown up in the village. Anyway, I go back to the question again. Help us to understand you growing up. What do you see around you as a young child, as a young kid, a teenager, as it were?
Yeah, seriously. I like that perspective. That's very true. The world is basically a village. We only get distracted when we begin to make it a city. And I wrote a book. Don't Drain Your Brain, Killing the Demon of Distraction. Right. It's a book for the modern day man to know how to take care of distraction. Because I realized that before any man would lose anything, you must have been distracted. And growing up in the village, right, gave me a lot of advantage when it comes to uh, building capacity and resilience, all right, to be able to, stay put on a particular thing and not giving up because it's like there is no other option. It's either you do it or it's not done. All right. So I had the benefit of a lot of old people around telling me, hey, this is what we have to do. You turn to the right, this is what we have to do. And seriously, morals were really, really taught. I have a story, very funny story. Behind our house, we have a garden, of fruit. All right, we have mango, we have coconut, we have guava, we have different fruits there, and different species of mango. Mango was actually the most dominant of the garden, and me and my cousin, we are taking so much mango, right, during that time. And we were warned, hey, guys, don't take any other mango except you come and take, we call it go concoction, like, herb, right, to get you uh, from not falling into dysentery or whatever it is like that. But we said yes at home. And we visited one of our uncles, right? And they have a different species of mango in their house. And he got it for us. And because the different species, we were uh, happy to get it, not like the one we had eaten at home. So we also consumed that. And unluckily for us that day, he said we should go home together. So I could say hi to his aunts and uncles too. So he, we got home together, and he had to, let the cat out of the bag that, wow, he treated us, right? A very nice one with mangoes. And that was the only thing that, he just needed to hear. I mean, for them to just hear at home, and they were like, come on, you guys took mangoes again? After you have been warned not to take mango, not even this week again. And the funny thing, not even the people who warned us at home, not to take mango, that disciplined us. Himself disciplined us. The two of us, he asked us to kneel down, and we carried stone in our hand as a form of discipline for disregarding the order we're given at home. Now, he gave us the mango. It's kind of him to offer us something. But regardless of that, he was not defending his own good will, all right, offering us mango. He was defending the fact that we were told in the first place that we could politely have declined his offer, no matter whatever way he wanted us to take it, compelling us. We should be able to decline his offer because of what we're told at home. Come on, that day remains memorable. And you see, you can't find such in the city. As a matter of fact, everybody's minding their business. Everybody don't even care, what's happening to you. When they care is when they want to make the news. They want to be the first to post a video of how somebody is drowning when they could help. That's what you find in the city. But in the village, you won't find stuff. Your things don't get misplaced. Whatever you are looking for, somebody will tell you, I saw somebody that did this to it. All right. It's so, uh, comforting to find peace, to find, there's this kind of peace that comes with, hey, I'm in good hands. I'm amongst the right people. People really, really will work your back for you. You don't get lost. Somebody will put you through no matter what. It's so interesting. And yeah, seriously, that's why I'm very different from a lot of people in my generation um, in the city. My perspective to things is always different. I feel like, hey, guy, you have an old soul, and I laugh. Yeah, I grew up amongst old people, so they gave me a part of their soul. So it's really interesting, Rudy, to grow up with those virtues of the village. Growing up in the village is like reading 20 good books in a month, right? Because the things you now come to the city to start reading in books, you will learn them on a daily basis in the village. So that's it.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. I love that. I like the way you said that, Olatunji. That is so beautiful. All right. Now, tell me a bit more again. So, as you were still growing up in the village there, having the chance to be able to see what is available there, enriching yourself, of course, preparing yourself for the world that will come, where you are going to be a player, a key player. What was your trajectory, and what was influencing that trajectory, as it were?
Um, I would say it's a blessing. I've always been this blessed, with this kind of mindset that uh, until I left the village before I now realized, oh, it was actually a village I was. I've always had this, feeling that big enough for my work, even right from my very tender age. So I didn't have any sense of limitation coming from my environment. All right. It was just about 2 weeks ago, after so many years, that my then proprietor of the secondary school I attended just, shared with me how I was, the fifth best mathematician uh, statewide, from a cowbell competition that we went there. He didn't tell us because we were neither first, second, or third, me and my friend that went for the competition. So we didn't know that we're that close to, the top. And when he was saying it recently, I just looked at him that this is actually a blessing in disguise. This man, they helped us to be able to pursue our dreams and not allowing us to feel proud. And you see, when I talk about it, it's not a small state. It's a state that has one of the highest level of literacy in Nigeria, and that was dated back to like almost 20 years ago now. That happened, and uh, I was looking at it that okay, we were groomed in such ways that we could aspire to rule the world, even from that place that I call village. So my trajectory has never been any way limited in any form because of that cradle. No, I've always dreamt about the world, and like I said, I always had this opportunity. Um, you know, coming to this city on holidays. So it was always an eye opener. I come on holidays, I see what's happening. So when I go back, I just have this balanced, perspective of life. And like that, I've always tried to be, as big as possible doing whatever I'm going to be doing.
Now, today you are a coach, a personal growth coach. And I find that to be very, very valuable, very important, looking at the situation that we have today in Nigeria and in the world. Okay, yeah, both of us we are from Nigeria, so we have a special place in our heart for our country. There is no doubt about that. That is irrespective of what is happening. I don't even care about that. And when we take up that argument, that is for another day. But for the love for our country, for our land, for who we are, there is nothing that even come near that at all. All right. How did you get into personal coaching or into coaching itself?
All right. I think one of the very biggest blessings, in my life, uh, was the blessing of having to become responsible for myself and life at a tender age. All right. I lost my father very early in life. Before I left the primary school, I was fatherless, and it was so much to me. It remains the foundation of whatever it is for me as a personal development coach today, because he took it upon himself to make sure that I I do well. You know, I found him, reading than watching TV. So it was natural for me to have that habit of reading. He was more interested in, personal development than I can count the number of times he ever told us that he was going for a party. He was a family person, but you won't find him go out, engaging in frivolities. He doesn't have any, bad habits or maybe drinking or smoking. He was just that gentleman who cared about his family, and everything was just there for me. And one thing that was very important was he never spared me. any moment for any misconduct. He would flog me nicely, and when I cry too much, he would give me pain, reliever, to use, and it would be cool. And you know what? If I offend the next moment, I would still be flogged for it, not minding that I was just flogged the moment ago. I was very stubborn, all right? So when he left, that vacuum became very obvious. I mean, family-wide, it was obvious. And it was that person that everybody would come to ask about stuff and say what's up and all of it like that. And somehow people just turned to me. I was very young, but people would just come to me, and it was like they needed me to feel, you know, the shoes of my father. Like what they would have gone to ask my dad, they would just naturally believe that I can also answer. I look like him, and I'm the firstborn, and so somehow people just come to me and ask me questions that I cannot even understand. They will ask me, and I will respond, not knowing what I'm saying, and they will be glad I responded. And I started looking, watching. Why are people coming to me? When I've not even sorted out my life, people just come to me. They want to hear my matter, my side of the matter and all of it like that. What's happening here? So, okay, it continued. And it got to that point that I became very, intentional about it. Oh, I don't look like a stupid person or a foolish person when next they come. I started, getting myself prepared. Okay, when they come and ask me about stuff like this, what would I say? Started getting myself prepared. Started getting myself prepared. And then, luckily for me, I became a friend to the only grandparent I have left. And, she died in, recently. She was my best friend, my grandmother. And then I was always with her. Anytime I have the chance, I would just be with her. She would tell me stories that I cannot understand, stories that were way beyond me, but I would just listen. It was doing something to my mind. It was growing my mind. It was, helping me become very, very, deep in my thinking, critical in my, observation. I would just listen to her. She would tell me a lot of things and I would learn from them. So growing up, I became naturally disposed to helping people become better people because of how it has been for me, growing up. I needed to step into a shoe that was bigger than me. People didn't care what the size of my feet, were. They just wanted me to feel it. And quickly, I found a blessing of becoming a friend with my grandma, who helped me, unknowingly to her, to rise up to that level of wisdom that could, put succor to whatever it is that was coming. So I did engineering, and I've always loved engineering, right? I still love engineering. But I found out that there's a gap of, you know, mind engineering. Uh, People don't do well uh, in personal development. And this is the core of whatever you want to become. This is the core of whatever you want to be. So how can I help? That was I for myself, you know, taking different tactic, position in different ways, strategically positioning myself to become of help to people in that space. And I now thought that, oh, come on, whether I had the title or not, I, I had the gift to do that. And then, we have been on it and it's been interesting, helping the world to realize the core of growth. John Maxwell really helped, been helpful. I've been in sync with him a very long time ago, and there's that quote from him that stands very tall for me. That growth is the assurance that is a guarantee in its exact word that tomorrow will be better. So since then, it's been very interesting. to realize that helping people to grow um, and understand the benefit of personal development is a big gift to anybody. So that's what we do. It's been interesting. That's why I'm here. And everything I'm going
Mhm.
to do, I always, come from that perspective of growth.
Thank you so much for that. So, at a point, you were being told stories you didn't understand. I really pay attention to that. Of course, you have participated in some of the events that we have organized on LinkedIn about storytelling. That has become for me like a kind of like a gospel, because I find it to be almost of an existential importance to us as a people to lay emphasis or to pay attention to storytelling. Now, in one of my book a couple of years ago, which had to do with discovering your life purpose, I was trying to stress on the point that as human beings, we really do have access to what I want to call um, database in the sense that, okay, our life did not really start from that moment that a man and a woman had an engagement or had sex, and that was not when our life actually started. We are a product of millions of years of evolution. We are becoming. Since that time, there have never been a block. There have never been a blockage. There is nothing really separating us from the ancient ancestors that have lived. The same record that they have, we can access it. Of course, we don't go around with those information in our head, otherwise it would be too much. So those ones are stored in the subconscious, which we don't tap into all the time. But sometimes when we need to, or when we know how to, or when we're even aware that we have that possibility, we can tap into it. Therefore, we really should not be living the life that we don't want to live. I was given an instance, uh, painting a picture of an antelope that is very close to the stream, about to take water, about to drink from the water. Only that the antelope suddenly realized that between the water and itself, there is a lion. And this lion is up to something. And the antelope knows that very well. How did the antelope know that? Is from the experiences that have been passed down for several hundreds, millions of years. Now, the antelope is going to make a decision. Should I continue to the water to drink, not minding the elephant, not minding the lion? Of course, the antelope could do that, only that it's going to be part of the natural experiment. Because if you go to take the water, not minding the lion, then okay, you are going to die. There is nothing that can happen to it. Nature is going to watch you die because it's just part of it. But if on the other hand, you realize as an antelope that, okay, this is what have happened to several other antelope before. I know what can possibly happen. Therefore, how far am I from the water? And how does that relate to the lion? Because if the lion is so far away, the antelope could simply go to take some water and run away. But what if the lion is close by? And how will the antelope know that? It's able to make very complex calculation in a fraction of seconds. Because you don't have like 10 minutes to think about it. Because the lion is not waiting there and say, hey, think. Then let me know what you decide before I react. No, everything are very fast. I'm just slowing it down in a kind of a slow motion so that we can take the pieces and examine them. So if the antelope is able to tap into the subconscious, which he know, then it will survive for that day. That is the story. The story that has been passed down from generation upon generation. And of course, we can take this into other areas in our human existence, for example, like food. How did we know what is food? Again, there is a lot of experiment that is about it. For you to know what is food, you are going to have to test it, not in the lab, but in the natural lab, in that you are literally going to eat it. If you don't die, that means it's something to be eaten. That is how our ancestors knew what they can eat. And because we have never really been cut off from our ancestors, that is how we also know. So that when you take up a piece of substance and you eat, it's based on the evidence that when you eat this substance, you are not going to die. And you know this because of the story behind you, several generations before. So I come back to what you were saying. You were being told stories you did not understand, but you were still listening. And I believe that by now you are piecing those stories together and you are getting value out of it. Because the person that was telling you story was actually passing information to you. And those information were highly important, valid. So what I want to ask you is, what is the importance of storytelling in all of this?
Yeah, you see, I like the direction and the way you took that. That was very interesting. And, I have a caption for it that every man is as old as the world. Every man is as old as the first man. We only need to tap into this to realize it. And that's the truth. You see, um, I can't remember all the conversations we had, but even the stories, I can't remember all. But the things I can remember are the stories. All that I can remember are the stories. Stories are ways of uh, immortalizing, virtues. They are parcels of gold that cannot, rot in delivering value from one generation to the other and allowing it to remain, gorgeous. At any point in time, it arrives where it is sent to. So stories are very powerful, all right? They 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 expound on the initial virtue or essence of sharing them. Stories give you this freedom, this liberty to also be able to take out of whatever was shared with you and make your own. Like, it's like adding color to it. It's like, you are given a script. You could use anybody to hack the rules, right? It's not compulsory that it must be this person. It must be this person. That's the way stories are. Anybody can come up and act it. All we just need to do, and you now realize that at every point in time, the feel we get from it is different with respect to who comes to act it. That's how beautiful stories can be. And that's the intelligence of sharing stories. That's the real core, all right, of the value that story has not, lost from the beginning of time. So stories are really powerful. They are the best way to preserve essence. They are the best way to, not make things that are really meaningful, not lose value, and also give whoever will listen to them the freedom of making the best out of it for themselves. It's really interesting, really. Those stories are very, very, very helpful to me now. Some of them they have become part of me. That the best way I can see them is to see them in my own world, but they came are very handy those times and they still remain very valuable.
Thank you for sharing that. Okay, now you're a personal growth coach. Let me put the question like this. How important is it for one to discover his or her purpose?
There's no need, being alive without purpose. It's just like a living dead, all right? It's like somebody who has committed suicide but still, alive, and that's why a lot of people they are more like weapon, alive uh, than human. That's why you see them, they can easily, pour away the um they can pour away the soup and not know they have done anything wrong. The reason why they did that and they can do it and not even feel bad is because they don't know why they are there. If they know why they are there, they would not pour away the soup. And if they have to pour away the soup, maybe because anything has happened to the soup and it's not been consumed, you know, they will know how to do it. That sense of purpose. So it's the most dangerous thing that can happen to any human being to be alive without purpose. I mean, it's absolutely dangerous. It turns you to a weapon, uh, not a weapon to protect yourself, but to injure yourself. And anybody that comes in contact with a purposeless person cannot go scot free. That's the reason for so much of hate, hatred, you know, uh, uh, lack of direction, and a lot of things that are happening in the world today. So much, so much responsible for that is because of lack of purpose. So it's dangerous to be alive without purpose. Very dangerous. Very dangerous.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I agree with you. It's like a man having a nuclear bomb. You are if you don't know what you are doing, you are both at a danger to yourself and to the society you are living in. Not knowing what you are doing, meaning you can make it explode anytime. And not knowing what you are doing might mean that somebody can get you angry. You say, you just insult me, let explode. Or you can just feel angry, you say, I'm angry, let explode. You see, the difference between that and somebody who know what he or she is doing is that you can still be angry, but you're going to measure it. You're going to understand what is the extent to which you can react to that. You see, you cannot say somebody insult you, or maybe somebody says something bad you don't like, then you just take a knife and you cut off the person's neck. You need to know the consequence of action and the measure, the percentage. All right, let me put it like this. When I remember I was growing up in Rumi, that was actually where I grew up in Amedokia. That is my village. So there was a madman. There, of course, when you are having mental problem, it's not like the society actually put you in the prison. You live among the people. That is where
Yeah.
you also get food. You run around. You do all sort of things. You are fully part of the society.
Mhm.
So there was this madman, as it were. His name is Talk and Do. Okay, that name should already mean something. Meaning, you do what you are saying and you are saying what you are doing. So, so one day, this Talk and Do came to the market, a very small local market. I think a child was making fun of him. So what he did literally was that I think the child has have hit him actually. Then he just grabbed the child and threw the child into the air. Everybody was surprised. How could you do this? And they were asking, what happened? Talkadu. He said the child was the child hit him first. So he had to react. All right. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because um, when you don't know what you are doing, you could be at a danger to yourself and to the society. So we must make an effort to know why we are here. What is my purpose here? This gift that I have in my hand, of what use is it? Otherwise, like you're saying, you can become a weapon that is just waiting for somebody to exploit. Because you don't know why you are here. You don't know what is your purpose, what is the value of your life. That you know how to go to internet and manipulate data. Do you know what it means? Before, you were making mention of John Maxwell. Would you like to tell me something about your encounter with him or maybe his teaching? Because you did say that that have impact on you. Please share with me about that.
Right. That remains a very key influence to my perspective about leadership and personal growth. Um, his first book I read then was Becoming a Person of Influence. He co-authored it with somebody. I usually don't remember the name of that person now. Becoming a Person of Influence. Okay, sorry. I'm just trying to spy if I can see it on my Yeah, right from here. Okay, I can see it. Let me just leave that. So, becoming a person of influence. I read the book, and then it, it gave me, a feel for who I want to be. I've always, wanted to be an influential person, and being an influential person for me is for me to be able to. I understood very early that becoming an influential person is going to be an advantage for me to be able to tell the people the right things to do. I've always had this feeling. I remember I was in primary school that day, that year. I was just walking back from, I think I was sent on an errand. I was walking back, and then I saw, 20 naira. 20 naira was the highest denomination then, and it was on the floor. All right. No, it wasn't the highest denomination. It was 15 naira then. So it was on the floor, and then I passed it. And just right in front of me, I saw an old man, elderly person coming, and I was curious to see what would happen to that money. You know, I wanted to know what would happen to the money. So as he moved past me, I was checking in till he got to the money. I saw that he bent down and he picked the money. Wow! I ran back to meet him and I asked him a question. Don't forget. I said, "Sir, uh, you as an elderly person, you are doing this. What do you expect the younger ones to do?" And that question looks very, harmless, but both of us will understand what exactly I was, talking about. And he said, "Oh, my son, nothing. Uh, I met a girl. This girl now should be in the opposite direction. That was crying about uh, misplaced money. That money was, the transport fare from our community to the next community. Like that was just the exact money. Then 20 naira take you from a place to the next community, through a taxi. So he now said the girl was crying for misplacing her money, that he's picking it so that he would be able to give it to the girl. And I looked at this man, and like the biggest lie I've ever seen, because the girl that is crying is on the opposite direction and you're moving this direction. And I left. But all of those experiences, built up to give me this reason for the desire for influence. That there are some people that will tell you to do something and you want to do them, not because those things are special, not because those things are different, or it doesn't matter. All right. But because you want to, because they told you, because a particular person told you to do it, you would want to do it. So I found out that hey, influence is very important to be able to cause a change. So I started, growing that part of me, and I found, um, John Maxwell to have the truest definition of influence without any prejudice, without bias, without sentiments of any kind. I mean, very true, very true. No self, profiting attached to it. Like it has this very true and pure sense of influence. You know, helping people to make the right decision. For the sake of themselves and the larger society. So every time I want to learn from him. Every time I want to know, okay, what's the latest book? What's up with him? I watch videos from him, listen to podcasts from him, get, newsletter from him, and everything possible that I can learn from him. I started doing it. I learned from many people, right? But he's just one of those persons that I trust the sanctity of is teaching, you know, so pure and life changing. It's been very, very interesting learning from John. Maxwell. And one day, it's part of my very interesting goal to meet him. All right, to meet him. I also wish I met him, my tomorrow, which is gone now. When I meet his son, I will tell him I wanted to meet your dad. For example, I'm meeting you later. But I would definitely meet Maxwell. God will preserve us to remain alive for long, and I believe that it's going to be a very beautiful day that day. And yeah, it's been very, very instrumental to my growth as a person, and as someone who help other people to also grow.
Thank you so much for that. All right. When you say then you started your growth process, like now you'll be listening to John Maxwell teaching, you read his books, and then you started your growth process. That is very important for me now because you are teaching people about growth. But even before you started to teach people about growth, you have grown yourself, so you know what you are talking about. So tell me, what was your process? How did you grow? What did you do to help you grow? Let me understand that.
Yeah, I will call it a gift, the natural virtue of putting to test, all right, whatever I learn. I do not wait for special happening. I do not wait for special events to test whatever I learn. And that's why immediately I get anything, I mean, any piece of knowledge, anything that intrigues me, I try it out immediately. And that has been like a 10 times effect on my growth. I would never wait to see it happen. I would always make moves to make it happen. So immediately I've come in contact with it directly or indirectly. I'm looking for the avenue, all right, to test it. And that has been the difference, for me, because uh, I've, I've, I've met with a lot of people who have read the same kind of books that I've read, but I realize that we are different. The difference is not that we have not, we read it at different points in time in our life. The difference is the action we decide to take with it. I do not wait. I do not wait, to see it happen. I do my best to make it happen. And through that process, I have failure. And that's the best thing that teaches you success. That's the best thing that teaches you growth. You fail. You fail. I mean, fail. And you are able to teach better when you are daring enough to fail. Very, very important. So I'm very, very quick to put to use whatever I've learned, and that has been the 10 times factor for me growing. So when I meet people, come on, I know where you're coming from, not just from my experience of knowing, also from my experience of doing. So I'm easily quick to engage you and know exactly how we can go about providing solution to whatever it is. And I've always allowed myself to be that vulnerable that I meet with people. I have this very interesting thing that I inherited from my father. Is never you know, uh, going to, classify people. It takes everybody the same, no matter what your vices are, you are not, the society thinks you are not good. Come on. I've lived with smokers, I mean, uh, drug addicts. I've lived with people who don't even mind what it is, to keep them, themselves, from sexual whatever it is. I've lived among different kinds of people, and I realized that the benefit to not become this kind of people and still remain, sane in such atmosphere is my ability to be able to see myself as different from them, even though we are sharing the same atmosphere, you know, and my ability to, put to test all of those things that I'm learning in those times. Okay, that yes, it's like I'm the world, I'm not of this world, all right? I'm able to, I put things to use. I mean, absolutely. I don't even take that chance. I don't take that chance. While I was leaving the university in my final year, I started a leadership school. And to date now, it has gone through several successions. I keep in touch with them. What's up? How is it going? Who is the new person in charge now? I meet with them. I try to communicate to them, the burning desire that I had then. Starting it then, I didn't know what I was doing, although I, held different leadership positions on campus. But to now raise leaders intentionally, I mean, take them through process. I just felt like, hey, I can do it. From so much I've learned, come on, I don't need to know how to do it. I just need to start doing it. And it has been a very good point for me, a reference point for me to why I just grow. That topic, just grow. When you learn it, do it. That's how you grow. So that's it.
Mhm. All right. Now, how do you help people in your personal growth coaching? Now, people that are listening to you, they they get the inspiration and they want to connect with you, but perhaps they're wondering, but how do you really help people to help them grow from where they are to where they should be or where they want to be?
Yeah, that's the very interesting part of this conversation. And I know so many people are waiting to say, hey, what's up? How can we do this? How can we be part of this? You know, um, I have a system of helping people go through the process and how I remain attractive to people who, come for the service of wanting to become better people is I, give value, uh, liberally. I make people to just enjoy growth. I just, hey, come on, come here. I have, programs I host on a weekly basis, helping people to realize personal development need and, making people to come to realize that, hey, the best that can happen to you is for you to understand the place of personal development. So when you get into the process, one of those things that remain very instrumental is my emotional intelligence and background. I took up emotional intelligence very early, and apart from having, that's one of those things that is common with people who have village experiences. I've come to realize that village has a way of imparting on you emotional intelligence because it has this community spirit of looking out for one another, and unknowingly you just realize that you're growing emotionally intelligent by doing one or two things that are just expected of you as a normal brother, to your brother in the village. So emotional intelligence helped me being a very inquisitive person. I started digging deep into it, and after I've practiced emotional intelligence for over a decade, I recently got certified as an emotional intelligence, professional with, one of the affiliate of 6seconds.org. And uh, emotional intelligence helped me to be able to understand uh, in very deep dimension neurology and psychology, how the brain works and how the mind works. So this has been these two they have been very very instrumental to me helping people to realize their need for personal development and also growing practically. I mean developing practically because I would start from how the brain works. All right. As long as you have a brain, come on, you're entitled to growth. All I just need to do is to be able to tap into the power of how your brain works, making you to see the need and to see the energy in you to fulfill the need. All right. So taking you through the process of, hey, come on, this is what you can do for yourself. So I have a signature program. I call it GAP course. All right. Growth Activation Process, GAP, GAP course. You see, GAP course is, there's always two personality every time, the real you and the ideal you. And there's a gap to be closed.
And that gap has to be done intentionally. That gap has to be done the best way possible so that you don't, miss whatever it is in between. And you live who you are, which is the real you, and you're unable to get to the destination of the ideal you. So that gap course is, it's a 90 days one-on-one program that we have with whoever is ready to go through the journey of personal development. And then in between, all right, some other programs that we also use to get people is Vision Board Conference. All right, I organize a yearly Vision Board Conference, having people come, and there we go through the process of self-discovery, getting to know yourself and vision boarding, getting to understand all of those very key things that are important to a successful life. So we have Vision Board Conference, happening every year, and then quarterly. I try to warm up this audience, and I try to, keep these visionaries in check, with what I call Vision Challenge. We are going to be having one in the month of July. That's going to be the third one for the year. So Vision Challenge is like a full month, capacity building session, like recharge and reignition session. All right. Every day, 30 minutes every day, every morning. For people that are on this time zone, it's 6 a.m. to 6:30 every day for 31 days. We're going to have it in July. We had it for January. We had it for April. We are going to have the third one for July. It's quarterly. So this is, the way it's like, when you have a living thing as an object of sacrifice. When you put a living thing on the fire, it will not remain the way you put it there. You have to keep checking on it, making sure that it's there and it's doing fine. So that's it. So at every point in time, this helps us to be able to get people into the that stream of seeing the need to grow up personally and create a system. Create a system. The 90 days is actually to help you create a system that will help you for the rest of your life to know how exactly, to grow and get things done.
Thank you so much for that. All right, now let's look at an individual who is new to the whole idea of personal development. Now, this person happened to meet you, and you want to onboard this individual to the process. Where do you start from? Where do you advise this individual to start from?
Yeah, basically, going back to that legendary quote from John Maxwell, that the guarantee that tomorrow will be better is growth. I always like to explain that illustration with, hey, you cannot give your 5-year-old boy the key to a Ferrari as a birthday gift. This same boy will be able to, drive this car when he grows older. The gift is not bad at that time, but it is not fitting because of his growth. Everything in life is very possible, but it will demand growth from us. So you get as much as you have grown for. So whatever it is that is your reality now, it's because of your level of growth. Life is just responding to the level of growth that you have, grown. And, it's better to grow up than to be thrown up. All right. Gravity will teach you sense. When you are thrown up, gravity will bring you back. But when you grow up, you remain up. So this is basic. This is just, the necessary thing you need to know as a person. So you want to achieve, better results in your life, in your career, in your pursuit, in whatsoever. You need to understand that there is need for growth. And what you are going to, experience, what we're going to do together in this time, in this period, is to just help you become successful habitually. You live every day a successful person when you understand the system of success that is ingrained in growth. And that's it. It has always been, the method. It has always been the strategy. It only gets, out in different form. But basically, it appeals to that hunger of people wanting to achieve better life for themselves and finding a way to do it, not as a ceremony, but as a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. All right, now I have a kind of a curiosity in that when somebody needs something, and that thing that the person need, he doesn't have it immediately something stopping that individual. Otherwise, you already should have what you want. But we see now that sometimes we are not able to have that thing right now, but we're going to have to undergo a series of exercises to either jump or run or practice or meditate or do a lot of things until at the end of the day, we are able to get that which we want. So I'm looking at maybe what can be the possible obstacles that are stopping some people from growing. Maybe based on your research, based on your conversation with your client, what do you see to be the major thing that is actually holding them back from achieving what they want to achieve now?
Yeah, as a man thinketh, so is he. Simple. What has kept uh, people back, what has made people move, are not ants, are not walls, are not barriers, but they are thoughts, belief systems. All right, that's the first thing we take care of when you come into the program. We know that you are a bag of experience, a bag of history. You are coming from somewhere and you want to go to somewhere. But there's no way you get wherever you are going to if you do not understand the impact that who you are, who you have always been, has always had on you. So it's the place of thought. All right, it's the place of thought. As long as you're able to help them, begin to crystallize the proper thinking patterns, belief system, you are able to help them, take that giant leap of growth. Anybody can grow and become better people. We are only stopped by the belief system of, hey, I cannot do more than this. Hey, this is not for me. It's for some people. I would have gotten this if I had gotten that. They are all around belief system. But when you're able to troubleshoot the belief system, you hold right in front of them to their face. Oh, this has been the limitation, and there's nothing real. You only made them real. So this is it. Let's bring up another. Let's have a different belief system, and you see yourself moving from where you are to where you want to be. That's it. Who we are by our thoughts.
All right. In this belief system, now maybe you are scanning through some of your past client, the people you have to work with. Are there some situation and you see a client and you look at the situation, maybe you put him or her through the process, you come to the conclusion that, okay, this one cannot be saved because of certain circumstances, because he's not listening or he's not able to reprogram the head to change the mindset. Because, like you said, the belief system is everything here now. Maybe the person doesn't believe it's possible. I don't know. Maybe it's passed through some process is not working. So the question basically is: are there some people that are unsavable in situation like this for their personal growth?
There's no unsavable. There's no unredeemable. Um, if it's easy, anybody can do it. But because it's not easy, that's why we have some people doing it. And those that are doing it, we have got different, level of expertise. And for some people, it's just mere skills, all right, that they just want to make gain from. And for a few of us, in the category I fall into, it's a call for me. And it's beyond just knowing how to get people to do what they're supposed to do. It's a call for me. So sometimes I know that they do not just respond to the techniques or whatever it is, they also respond to the call. So I do not, jettison that advantage. However, but truly, I can tell you that there are people who are so difficult. I mean, extremely difficult to help realize that they can grow and become better people. But the thing is, you only need to understand that there are uh, possible slips, all right, possible gaps that you just need to identify and break into. The brain only understands two languages, and they are the language of pain and pleasure. You only need to be able to understand these two so well and communicate it to them in their own language. Everybody will run from a snake, no matter your strength, no matter your experience of snake killing. All right, as long as you know this is poisonous, and then even though you have some uh, voodoo to help you take away the poison when it bites you, or it does not even have impact on you, you will still have to take some caution. All right. So everybody runs away from whatever it is painful and run towards pleasure. So my job every time is to always help them to be able to make their pains very painful. All right, to make them run out of their bed, run out of their comfort zone, all right, and run towards their pleasure. So I paint the pleasure to them in so beautiful way, so irresistible a way that they want to go for the pleasure. And going for the pleasure, they don't mind the process, all right, of getting there. They just want to get out of the pain. They want to just get into the pleasure. And this is very important, and it's one of those very useful skill for me from understanding how the brain works. All right, the oxytocin, the endorphin, the dopamine. All of those brain chemicals, they have their ways of communicating to us. When you understand them, you're able to help them, formulate new habits. You're able to help them put away bad habits. Like Vision Challenge now is going to happen for 31 days now in July. It was 30 days in April. It was 31 days in January. And every day like that, what I target is, helping you to, hit your comfort zone. Simple, recharging you and reigniting your vision. That's simple. So it will not come easy. Some people, the first problem for them will be waking up early. All right, waking up early and become that active and useful for themselves. Some people, it will be that, okay, now they can now wake up early, making these things useful for themselves, taking actions with all of those things. So it's going to be a different stage. So the thing is, you cannot mass produce people. You cannot mass produce human being. You can mass produce anything in the world, no matter how complex, no matter how delicate they are. Mass done for things in the world. But when it comes to human beings, you can't mass produce them. No matter the number of persons that can be given birth to at once, they all have their individual DNA. They are different in themselves. So that's something to understand, that there is no one method fits all when it comes to helping people to grow. It's something that you need to understand intentionally. That, okay, what kind of person is this? And that's why, when you get into the process, we do a lot of assessment to know your personality, to know how you respond to challenges, how you take up growth cues and all of it like that. So we come to understand this. Immediately we understand this, it becomes very easy. So the thing is, when you are trying to, it's like somebody who never likes rice, for instance. No matter how well you cook the rice, you cannot get the person's attention. The person will not say, hey, well done. The person can just say well done because you have done something well. But the person does not like rice or does not even eat rice. All right. So, that's the problem we have with a lot of coaches. They look at the effort they have put into making the food, but they do not look at it from the side of the person that wants to eat the food. Does this person like the food? No, sometimes the food that the person likes may just be water and water. Now, it will look too simple. There have been a lot of times that there are some people that getting them into that mood of wanting to grow and grow without limit is just one simple thing. And there are some people who would almost finish the 90 days before we even get them to understand what we are doing. So it's for you to be able to assess exactly what does this guy want to eat, serve the food. And it will be between these two cardinals of pain and pleasure. Make them to be able to run away from the pains. Let them understand that, guy, this is your life. It's not interesting. Do you know why it's not interesting? Look at the pains. Paint the pains painfully to them. And, get them to like the pleasure. That when you go through this process, look at what you're going to gain. Wow. You are not just talking to them, you are talking to their brain. You need to understand how to get their brain on that journey. And that's it. Very interesting.
Now, that is a thinking I was having in my mind just now as you were explaining. Um, is it possible that being able to focus, can have a significant role in the work that you are doing or you are telling people to do for their life? Now, you meet somebody who probably is all over the places. He might even have energy, but the energy might actually be spent on things that are not going to bring the result to where the individual is going. So, in this sense, what role can be able to focus have? Because I remember, I think in one quote that I have somewhere, I used to like it a lot. Of course, I still do. Is by Alexander Grant Bear, who said that the sun rays does not burn until it's brought to focus. So help me understand that.
You like the things I like too. Focus. You see, the center point of the book, Don't Drain Your Brain, Clean the Demon of Distraction, is on focus. And when we talk about the subject matter of focus, for me, it's alive, it's fleshy. Look at what focus itself, FOCUS. You won't catch me having this kind of conversation without coming out with mnemonics. I've got a lot of them. It's one of those ways that, symptomizes my ability to focus on words, and bring out very deep things from them. So look at the word focus. It's forming original character, upfront struggle. You see, you need to be able to focus to focus. What makes us to be able to focus is not sitting down and looking at something, staring into it, for hours. It's your ability to form certain characters before the need for them comes. Focus is just that, okay, at some point, you are able to put your appetite under. You were supposed to go for something because everybody's going for it. But you told your appetite, guy, calm down. You don't need this. As simple as that, you have just focused. But where did it come from? It did not come from your lenses. It didn't come from whatever it is that you have to be able to see other things. No, it came from your character strengths. So what we call focus is character. It's character. So it's very important. You see, and there's something I call energy management. All right. We have got so much energy, enough to be able to do whatever we want to do. But many times what happens to us is that we do not know how to manage our energies. And I usually use this illustration, like, okay, look at it. Energy distraction is one of those distractions that I really talked about in that book. A young man has got so much. And I made the example with what I call the 12 years syndrome. The first 12 years of our life, we all by chance come into a realization of what we want to become in life. A very typical example is Jesus. At the age of 12, he already knew what he wanted to do. He was already doing it. But somehow, people around us were quieting us and say, guy, keep quiet. You don't know what you are saying. Why would you say you want to do this? There's this quieting. So we enter into this short, mute stage between the age of 12 and 18. Somehow, somebody will just tell you that now you are 18, you can do whatever you want to do. Oh, really? And that thing you have been practicing from age 0 to 12, the first lap of the 12 years syndrome, you now want to, you now feel like, hey, I can do it now. I'm 18. I'm no longer a kid. I'm 18. I'm no longer a child. All right. So, you see, between the age of 18 and 30 is another lap of the 12 years syndrome. This time, you see people trying to try out everything that they have ever dreamt of between the age of 0 and 12. So, paying attention very well, you can help anybody to be able to get the things that really resonate with them and their purpose in life from the things they by chance did between the age of 0 and 12. You see, that age range or gap is the point where no sense of impossibility in the heart of a young person. You feel like everything is possible. And that's the truth. But as we grow, the introduction of, hey, you can't do this because you are this, begins to come in. And that's not true for anyone who wants to fulfill big purpose. So between the age of 18 and 30, you see that second, 12 years lap of, okay, you try everything. So at that point in time, it's like you're having a full tank of 50,000 liters of fuel and a fast car, a Ferrari. All right. So when you are called for a party in Medjugorje, all right, you get on the road. Why? You have a fast car and you have a large tank of fuel. So you just go to your tank, you get some into your car, and you move, you speed, boom, you are there. Why? You've got so much advantage. You have the advantage of speed and you have energy, fuel. All right. Now, but immediately you step out of that 30 years and you are from there like this, you now begin to experience shortage in supply. At this point in time, maybe you now have just 15,000 liters of well left. At this time, when you are called for an event, you ask them, you want to know why you should be at the event. You don't just jump into the car because this time the Ferrari is not as new as it used to be. The fuel tank is already reduced. So for everything you want to do, you want to know why you should do them. At this point in time, we are now seeing that, hey, life is not as energetic as it used to be. I've got to be very, very, very calculative with my next step. Now, what is all of this? Energy management. Where is this coming from? Focus. The difference between a man and another man is the ability to focus. The difference between humans and animals is the gift of focus. You see, I said concentration is the cell of the matter called focus. Your ability to concentrate on what you are doing now is very important. Your ability to be able to concentrate on what you will do later, what you have done before, they come together to give you focus. So wherever there is concentration, thunder will strike there. And that takes us back to the sun is able to burn when brought under the focal lens. Wherever there is concentration, thunder will burn there, will strike there. Thunder is both light and noise. There's going to be an impact where there is focus. And where is this impact coming from? It's just coming from you understanding your energy and bringing them together, concentrating your energy. All right? Concentration. See? Concentration. Bringing it together. That's it. So focus is very important to be able to realize power from anything we do, no matter how little. Focus is what makes a needle to be able to puncture. Because, science taught me that when the area is reduced, the pressure is high. pressure equals to force over area. When the area is reduced, the pressure is high. The guy is able to penetrate. The pointed shoe is able to make hole in the ground because of the reduced area. The flat sole is just going through it. It's not even, the ground not even noticing that something went through. So that's it. So that's focus. That's the power of focus. It's very important. And there are too much of distractions today. The only man that will do well in this present world is a man that can focus from the lot of distraction that we have around. Thank you.
That's so important. It's so important. Thank you for doing justice to that. Now, I read on your social media pages that you're a business growth hacker. What do you mean by that? I want you to spend some time explaining that to the people.
Yes, very interesting. It's natural that when you deal with the business of helping people grow, you would also deal with businesses, because every business has human beings as their companies. And many times the problem with businesses are not just products or processes, they are people, because people would be responsible for the processes and products. So when a person is not a good product in him or herself, would not be able to come up with a good product. When a person does not have a good process of getting things done for themselves, they may not be able to come up with a proper process for a business or a venture. So I take the advantage of, okay, come on, this is it. I know exactly. All right, I've got very good business advantage. Helping businesses from that point of, okay, let's come from this angle of the people. And my best definition for business is you are your business. You are your business. You are your business. Your business cannot do better than you. So if we are going to attend to the business, let's attend to you. Let's know who you are. Business becomes very interesting and is able to fulfill its purpose when you are doing well. When you are growing, come on, your business will grow. The growth that is not happening to the business is because the people in charge are not growing. They feel comfortable with whatever they have achieved or whoever they are or what their status is telling them. And, it's very important that we are able to grow. So from that place, when a business is having, a stallment, and feel like, hey, come on, why are they not moving? What's happening here? We go and we do the history analysis. We do so many assessments and check, making sure, I do that with business Momo, all right, business Momo, right, like I call it, when it comes to attending to businesses, helping them to become better and then, take charge of their growth curve. Momo is actually a coinage that I got from the Japanese language. And I like Japanese structure of business, the lean manufacturing, one of those things I cannot forget from being an industrial and mechanical engineering graduate. Muda, Muri, and Mura, those are the three terminologies for waste in Japanese. Japan has the longest living, companies, oldest companies in the world. So it's safe to go and learn from them how to build whatever you want to be sustainable. So these three words, they represent waste of unevenness, waste of overproduction, and waste of, I think, what's the third one now? I usually would mix up the guy. I think there's unevenness and overburden. Yes, unevenness, overburden, and then overproduction. All right. So these three, Muda, Muri, and Mura. And I felt like, hey, why? It's still taking us back to focus and energy management. why businesses don't do well is not because they do not have resources, all right, to do well. The other day on your program, we're talking about the RTV. I mentioned the RTVN structure that serves as the core for any business, all right, any business modeling. That's the core, that's the beginning. Your resources, your transaction, your value, and the narrative. Now, when you look at that, you come to realize that, okay, businesses are not doing well, not because they do not have resources, but because they have not been able to identify the strengths of their resources, and that is wastes. They begin to waste when they do not understand they do not identify the strengths of their resources. Resources are in different forms. I don't like us to start going into those depth of technicalities now. So, business wastes, that's the business momo now. Business waste, they are in different form. It's not the waste that happens on the factory floor of overproduction in quote. Sometimes it can be overdriving the people. Sometimes it can be overdriving a strategy tenets. Sometimes it can be overdriving a process. Sometimes it can be not doing enough with an idea. All right, all of these things, they become wasteful for the business, and when these weights begin to come together, they now become a weight for the business. So what we do is, from that perspective of helping the business to identify what is the waste in here, what exactly have been, draining your energy, what exactly has been wasting your resources. So how can we block that leakage? How can we because energies are not destroyed, they are only transformed from a form. So that energy that has been wasted, so how can we bring it back? How can we plow it back into the old system? I'm very available, right? For now, I have my LinkedIn as very open place to get connected with me. I'm working on my team. We're working on our website. We had one before. I think we got hacked. So we are trying to work on a more secured one, and putting all of those things together. That would have been another easy place to meet me. But definitely, I'm always in the face of everybody on LinkedIn on a weekly basis. You can catch up with me. I host programs, and every day you can come to my DM, do a shout out, and then we are ready, really ready to help as many as possible to become good people for themselves and then for the people. Very important. So for growth activation, basically growth activation means personal development, right? I just have this unusual inclination about it, that it's not ceremonial, right? It's deep work. People cry in my sessions, right? I make people to cry, to tear practically for their lives. So it's not ceremony. It's a lot of work to get people to realize their life and want to pick it up, whichever point it is that you're meeting them, and they go ahead with it. And also have consulting as a service for businesses, helping businesses to see through their human capital need, capacity building, and also business intelligence need, helping business owners, small and medium sizes businesses to be able to see through that advantage of getting their business on the right path. And that's it. Everything coming together to help my very lofty goal of becoming a renowned nation builder. Now, I already started one very important movement. That's a toll recovery movement, where I help some people of like minds to get talks, people that are called talks, off the street, and give them a better life. So my basic strategy for that is as many people as possible that I'm able to help with their personal lives and businesses. We're going to work on that together. It should be like a place where they do their give back to society. To help people who the society don't expect anything from, to achieve their dreams and goals. And that way, we are able to have a better society. So that's it. I speak, I write, and I design solutions for people, for business, and for nations. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. That is really a full packet of information for those who want to leverage it for their growth. And of course, growth is the topic that we are discussing today. All right. Now, looking at what we have discussed, what would you consider as your final message here to leave the people with? It might be something you wanted to say. I didn't ask you, or kind of a closure, the way you think it should close. Please go ahead and do that.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for what you're doing. It's a great one. I really, really, really appreciate you. And to everybody who is, part of this today, I really appreciate you. You are listening to this not by coincidence. It's just another emphasis on the fact that you are enough, and you are possible. All right. You just need to get on the right soil as the good seed, and then you can find yourself growing without limit. So very important that we understand this fact. Very important that we understand this reality. Very important that we understand that our life is going to be messy when we are not growing. Nobody likes that they have something that is not growing. So as we don't like that we have things that are not growing, we should also have to keep a life that is not growing. So grow with your life, get better, and become a better person, not just for yourself, but for everybody around. And I want to appreciate you, sir, Mr. Obehi. You are doing a very great work. Thank you, and keep doing this amazing work. It's a great pleasure to have this opportunity to share with you the things that we do and the things that are very important to us and dear to our hearts. I want to appreciate everybody again, be on this call at one point or the other to want to know more about growth. We may not have, said that thing that you wanted to hear. You can still, come up to us at any point in time, if we can have a redress and get you to understand it the best way you can. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. I appreciate the sharing. There is a lot of value here in what you have shared. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much, there, Olatunji. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.